What's happening, guys? Welcome into another boxing breakdown and prediction show for this weekend's lightweight clash between up-and-coming star Devin the Dream Haney as he takes on tough former IBF super featherweight champion JoJo Diaz live over on the Zone this weekend. So let's get into it. Now, Haney comes into this one as the big minus 700 favourite here, with Diaz coming back at a plus 450. And, Haney will no doubt know he has to deliver on those odds as well, especially after last weekend's huge upset win between George Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez, massively upsetting the apple cart down at lightweight in that one. But this is a fight that was meant to be between JoJo Diaz and Ryan Garcia initially, before Ryan Garcia was forced to pull out. But, Haney was forced to line the jump at the opportunity to fight Diaz here. A fighter who, not too long ago played a straight of featherweight and super featherweight, before moving up to the deep waters of this 135-pound division. And look, I like JoJo Diaz. He's definitely got that old school throwback fighter mentality about him, where he's willing to step in against anybody. And I was really impressed with his win over Tevin Farmer early last year. Fought through that massive gash over his eye, gave Farmer a ton of trouble on the inside as well. But bar maybe the exception of Gary Russell Jr. on his resume, this is a huge step up in quality for Diaz here. Especially over his last few wins. And he lost that fight to Russell, quite comfortably as well. Russell, very slick southpaw, basically punished Diaz all night long with that jab of his, injured his right hand early in that fight as well, around the third round, I believe, which basically hampered him, made him a one-handed fighter for most of the fight. And he still ended up winning by a sizable margin in that one. So, there's very little to make me think this fight on Saturday against Haney will go any differently for him. Diaz has said in the lead up to this fight that he wants to hunt down Haney, make it a war of attrition type fight in there. But, 2 points for me is A, I don't believe he can hunt down Haney in there. Haney is one of, if not the best mover in the entire division right now. So I think that's going to be problematic for Diaz on Saturday. In terms of actually cutting the ring off here. And B, while Diaz has got fast hands, he doesn't hit with any particular pop. He's got a less than 50% KO ratio in there. So I firmly believe this is Haney's fight to lose here on Saturday night. On the other side, though, I don't see Haney getting the stoppage here either. A lot of people were highly critical of his performance against Yuriorkis Gamboa last year, including myself. Really struggled to put an old injured Gamboa kind of to the sword in that one. Didn't even manage to do it in the end either. So, he came out earlier this year in May and looked to right that wrong, looked to go for the finish against a much more dangerous Jorge Linares. Haney was on top for most of that fight, was out shooting Linares in there, had the faster reflexes for the most part, but he got a bit overzealous near the end, got a little bit reckless, and, he got caught flush with a beautiful counter right hand by Linares late in that one. Believe it was the 10th or 11th round, and he was very, very lucky that punch didn't come any sooner from him in the round, right near the bell, as Linares probably could have finished the show there. Haney was all on spaghetti legs going back to the corner. He was, very badly wobbled, and it was actually funny because Linares almost jokingly walked him back to the corner as well. Haney was so out of it. So, I think Haney will learn from that ahead of this one, especially as further Bill in his corner too. Don't get too reckless in there. While Diaz mightn't crack quite as hard as Linares does, you still don't want to be taking any unnecessary risks here. With the potentially huge fights in the horizon against the other lightweight champion sometime next year, if he can get through this test. So, I think if Haney fights to the game plan here, boxes to his strengths, keeps the fight at range, I can only really see one winner here, and that's Devin Haney by decision, probably at minus 225. We've banked some pretty big odds over the last few weeks in these videos. But I am going to eat a bit of chalk this week for this week's play. I think the books have it right here. And I like Devin Haney to win by decision in this one, as, unless he does something reckless in there. I honestly can't see anything other than a comfortable points decision win for the Californian in this one. So, to summarise, I'm going to take Devin Haney this weekend to win by decision against JoJo Diaz at odds of minus 225 as your boxing best bet for Saturday. That'll wrap things up for this week. As always, leave us your thoughts in the comment section below. And you can also catch me over on Twitter at the SportsWolf83 and at my handicapper page, Kevin Dolan, over at WagerTalk. As always, thanks for listening. Until next time, Slán